This is pro wrestling's one and only true Shuperstar, Mike Shupe, and you're listening to Mitch, Please.
Underneath it all, it's just a silly man trying to understand who the fuck I am on this US land. I let my hair grow, then I cut it off, put a couple lines in it, cause you know I'm never coming soft. I do a lot of shows and I get a lot of stares. I got a lot of haters, but really who cares?
Mitch, Please, episode 24. What is going on, everybody? Thank you very much for giving us a click. Lot been happening this last month or so since the last episode of Mitch, Please, episode 23 with Johnny Maverick. Thank you guys very much for listening to that, for sharing that. It's much appreciated. I been up to quite a few things, you know, still the host over at Pro Championship Wrestling. I've been having a lot of fun doing that. And also still going after the stand-up comedy. Had a couple sets, you know, did a couple open mics, had some fun with that. And in the podcast world, big things were happening. Last summer, I talked about it here on the show. I was able to get on Keeping It 100 with Konnan through the Chris Jericho Network and Podcast One, and that was awesome. That was fun last summer. Talk about my relationship with Sunny and that. People really always ask me about that, and I'll just say this: when I broke up with her, and yes, I broke up with her, broke her heart, and left Pennsylvania. A lot of people wanted to interview me and wanted me to, spill the beans and trash her and this and that. And I just didn't want to do that. I didn't think that was the right thing to do. My grandma raised me better than that. So I declined all the interviews and everyone but Konnan. I just figured, hey, it's Konnan. I got to talk to him. I'll talk a little bit about that situation with him. I've talked a little bit about that situation with Sunny on this show. And then what I also did recently was stirred up a little controversy with Kevin Gill. Here's the deal. I don't really like Kevin Gill. I don't know. He's always talking about PMA and this and that, but he just rubs me the wrong way, man. He's kind of really kayfabe. He doesn't like to respond to messages, and he just feel like he's just I don't know. He's just really into himself, man. And I kind of went after him a little bit on Facebook and also on Twitter. And what I wanted to do, my goal was basically just to get back on Keeping It 100 with Konnan, because I'm a big fan of that show. Disco Inferno's on there as well, and somehow KG's been on there for going on almost 50 episodes. And I just I don't know, I just thought that I honestly, I think that I could do a better job. I think I would be much more entertaining in that role that KG has. So, I tweeted some stuff out, I posted a lot of stuff on Facebook, and I wanted to thank everybody for retweeting my tweet. I'm going to shout you guys out here, actually right now, if I can figure out this darn Twitter thing. There was 25 retweets, so I want to shout out at Devin Bradford 9, at DismillMoFass11, at Denisi OEV2M. I don't even know who those guys are, but I appreciate you guys with the retweet. Shout out to Lauren Jones. Shout out to my boy Mike Shupe. I want to shout out Dawn Ashby, Rachel Myles, Brandy Grindz, Drake Nelson, Steven Sykes, however you say that last name. Also, a big shout out to E-V-E and Steven Pinsky, a.k.a. Paul Isadora, the Reno Wrestle Factory, All Pro Wrestling Nevada, at IM_L_Kabong. All right. Shout out to Stephen Lovett Sr. Shout out to at SpaceWolf916. The No Gimmicks. Getting tongue-tied here. Tongue-tied. Not tongue-tied, but tongue-tied. Shout out to the No Gimmicks podcast. Johnny Maverick. Dustin Robertson. Isaacson. Pat Chase. Kristina. At It's Barbie Doll 23, and a big shout out to at PCE since 2015. All right, guys, you guys are a big part of me getting back on that Keeping It 100 podcast, and it was a lot of fun. You guys can check it out at podcast1.com/100. They did a train wreck segment, and they were able to give me a couple minutes on there to talk about my feelings on KG, and I hit them with a couple Mitchisms, and I think they popped, and I don't know if Disco will want to admit it, but I think I came off very entertaining, and I hope to get back on that show again down the line. So, a lot going on, guys. I've got a new segment for you this time. It's called Hot Topic. All right, we've also got our guest this week. Without any further ado, haven't talked about him yet, but his name is the coach, Matt Sutter, from Radio Relapse. All right, now here's the deal. I basically went downtown Chico, went to downtown the plaza. I'm a little stumbly today, but you know what? We're just going to keep it going. So I went to the downtown plaza here in Chico, California, and I just, on a whim, and saw Radio Relapse perform live, and they were amazing. So, got in touch with Matt, and we got him on the show, and it's a good interview, and I think you guys will enjoy it. And then once we come back from that interview, like I said, we got that Hot Topic segment still to come. Also, I will fill you guys in on everything going on with me as far as Pro Championship Wrestling, etc. Okay, so right now we're going to cut on over to our interview with the coach, Matt Sutter from Radio Relapse. Well, we are out here in Paradise, California, Creekside. It's a very romantic kind of environment here. It's
what have I been sucking?
This guy doesn't know what he's getting into, but I want to introduce right now, welcome to Mitch, please, from Radio Relapse. He calls himself the coach. This is Matt Sutter. What's up, Matt?
Hey, how you doing, everybody? Happy to be here. Happy to be in a weird little spot in Paradise. I grew up in this town, and every once in a while I find a spot I've never seen before, and this is one of them.
Yeah, man.
Didn't even know this little creek was here or nothing. This is really pleasant.
That's cool, bro. Yeah, I grew up in Paradise too, man, pretty much. Been all over, but always Paradise most of my life. So what was life like for you growing up in old Paradise, California?
I would say, and I've learned this in my role as a teacher up here especially, I grew up pretty sheltered from a lot of the stuff that goes on in town, and Paradise is beautiful to look at, and has some really great things about it. I have a spot in my heart, obviously, for my hometown, but it's also got some stuff going on just under the surface that I don't think the town really admits is happening sometimes, and that can be sad, because I see my students sometimes caught up in it. I've seen it, I've seen lives get wrecked in this town. I'll just, come right out and say it. It's got an opioid problem. It's got a poverty problem. So it's not like it's perfect, but if you're not going to cheer for the home team, get out of the stadium, right? Yeah. This is my home team. This is my hometown. I do love it. That love just comes with realizing that there's definitely stuff to work on and ways the place could be improved.
Well, it's hard to live up to the name, right? Paradise.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Right?
But, yeah, no, I feel you, man. It's, you got to keep it close-knit sometimes, I think, in this town. Lot more stuff going down in Chico. And, it was in Chico where I actually met you downtown at the Plaza, man. You were performing with your band Radio Relapse, and you guys were incredible, man. I had my girlfriend with me. We just randomly decided to go downtown, and I had no idea you guys were playing. And then I was like, oh my God, these guys freaking rock, man. We were so into it. We were so happy we were able to check you guys out. And I mean, what inspired you, man, as far as music and stuff growing up?
Oh gosh, I was always a music guy growing up. Definitely, I tried different instruments, but the one that really stuck for me was my voice. That's the one that really lasted a long time. I tried to learn how to play guitar once. That lasted like 3 days.
Yeah.
And I played clarinet for like a year, but realistically, vocals was where it's at. I had a really great music teacher at Paradise Intermediate and Paradise High. That's Jack Woodard. Really, not only was a great mentor and deeply caring human being and a great teacher, but also understood the technical side of music exceptionally well and understood the technical side of singing very, very well. And so I credit him a lot with interest in music, but also like technical capacity. If I didn't have that man in my life, I would not necessarily be a great, very great singer or anything like that. I don't know if I'd be a singer at all.
Yeah, you are a good singer, man. And my mom's a singer. She's been singing for 40 years. She's in a band called the House Cats. I'd love to introduce you guys sometime. But dude, yeah, and you talk about guitar, how hard it was. I tried to play guitar, man. My fingers were all hurting. I was like, nope, I'm not into that either. So who are some of your favorite bands or singers?
I would say the two guys that, the act that is probably the most important for me vocal-wise is probably Zeppelin.
Yes.
And then the person that just passed away, Chris Cornell. Yeah, definitely the voice of a generation. I wrote something on our page the other day, and I meant every word of it. That man talked with his voice the way Hendrix talked with his guitar. And for guitar nuts out there, Hendrix was able to, throw out emotions with the guitar. And so not only is he, singing his music and things like that, but when he's playing, the guitar itself is speaking to you. And Chris Cornell could do that with his voice. There were the lyrics of the song, but then there's an extra layer underneath that where the tone, the pitch, the style of his voice is also saying something in the music if you know what to listen to and if you're paying attention. And that's something that I really valued specifically as a singer, and something I'll miss about the man is that specific capacity. Not every singer can do that. There's a lot of great voices out there, and I strongly believe anybody can learn the technicalities of singing. I really, really believe that, but that's another level. That's next level stuff. And that made Chris Cornell the elite voice of a generation, above a lot of other people I really like who are excellent singers. Obviously Kurt Cobain comes to mind. Less technically correct, but very gifted individual. I listened to a lot of Red Hot Chili Peppers when I was a kid. Listened to a lot of Weezer, and we wound up playing all that stuff now as an adult, which is really cool. Everything I loved when I was 13, 14, up to about 20 or so, now is something that the band does years later.
Yeah, Stacy's mom too. You guys are rocking that one out. I love that so much. I popped so huge for that. So, you guys, you talked about how you were starting to learn vocals and stuff from in intermediate school.
Yeah.
When was your first band? Like, how old were you, and how did that come about?
Well, my first real band is a band called After Hours Shower. There's a story behind that that's not fit for the airways, but that was called After Hours Shower, and that was in college, and that was a lot of fun. It was four of us with a fifth guy sometimes, but the four of us really had a unique musical vision, and that was a lot of fun. But even before that, when I was in high school, I actually tried in my English class. We had like a poetry project. I wrote a song and recorded it with a friend and a music teacher, and the three of us put something together. And so I've been interested in music for a long time. I wanted to do that kind of stuff. I took the opportunity when I was in college to branch out and try to be a front man, which is really cool. And that made me comfortable with it when I got out of college, came back home, and after a few years of some other musical acts and some stuff that I was involved in, I actually just called a couple friends, was like, do you want to try to form a band?
Yeah, and we're going to get there. I want to go back a minute.
Sure.
You talked about, you wrote an original song. What was it called, man? What was it about?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. It was funny because I really didn't have a whole lot of material to pull from on this, but it was about a relationship and being cheated on. So it was all about girls and love, and that kind of stuff, and trying to figure that out, being like 15 and not knowing anything about anything. And yeah, I don't even remember the name of it. Somewhere I think have a tape of it. It was a tape that ages me. Yeah, that dates me. But somewhere I have a tape of it, and it wasn't great, but my English teacher had nice things to say about it. That was Kim Ellison, actually, Paradise High, Kim Ellison, assigned me the project, and then said we sounded like the Doors. I don't know about that, but there was a lot of heavy keyboard in there, so maybe, No,
that's what's up, though. So, do you remember the first time you performed live, like, in front of a crowd? Perhaps you were paid, perhaps not, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, do you remember that first time, and what did that feel like?
It's always a rush, and the rush never goes away. If you really love the music like that, that never disappears. I think I could go back to being about 10 years old and like elementary, like choral performances and stuff like that. Right. So those are really early stuff. I'd say the first solo stuff was with After Hour Shower. That was the first time that I got up in front of people in an audience and sang. And that soft spot in my heart. We all graduated college and we went different directions and stuff like that. But every once in a while, I try to keep in touch with those guys, and some of them are still doing music where they're at. And it was good. I'd say our coolest show. This is the coolest show thing for After Hour Shower. We threw a benefit concert for the women's shelter in San Luis Obispo. And we were able to pull 100 people into a room and play some music for them, and we raised like $300 for that women's shelter. That's awesome. It's cool when you can rock for a cause. That's my favorite thing to do, I think.
That's really noble, man. No, that's admirable. That's what it's all about. Giving back, helping people out through art, Absolutely. Let's talk about Radio Relapse, man.
Yeah.
I think I know at least one of the members, Prosser, right?
Yes.
Thomas Prosser. Okay, I know him. Tell me about all the members, how you guys are all linked and connected, and how Radio Relapse came about.
So Tom is actually my oldest friend, and he is the next to newest addition to the band. So to go way back, I got in touch with a buddy. I was like, I really miss music, and he wanted to form a band too. So we put something together called Bob Goblin with a couple other buddies.
That's a great name.
It was such a dumb name. It was so great.
Bob Goblin.
It was a character off one of my daughter's TV shows, and it had alliteration, and so I was like, that's a good name right there. That lasted about 9 months or so. And we had a drummer get called back into the military, and so we actually put out a call on Craigslist for a drummer, and that's where we got Cody. And so Cody and I stuck with the project after a couple guys left to do something else. Those guys are all in Slay It Forward by the way. That's a really cool band too. The local punk act, very, very good. But they left to do that project, and Cody and I actually hung out at the Graduate one day, and we're like, do we want to try to keep this thing going? Because we felt like we were on the edge of doing something really cool. And we decided, yes, we did. And so we started putting feelers out for new people to join the project. That's where we got Will, the guitar player.
Now you can go ahead if you're comfortable and they're cool with it releasing their full names. I'd like to tag them, you know what I mean, add them and all that stuff. So break down everybody's name, full name, and their what instrument they play or what role they play in the band.
So Cody Johns plays drums, and then William Anderson, he plays guitar. He's our lead guitar player. We had another dude in the band for a while, Ben. He wound up moving for a job up to Oregon, and we replaced him with Josh Pitcher. So he does mostly rhythm stuff, but he does lead on a couple of songs. The rhythm part shouldn't fool you. Both he and Will are exceptionally gifted guitar players, are very, very good. We had another dude in the band, Jeremy, for a while playing bass. He left to do a different thing, so we brought in Chase. Chase plays bass. Chase Reno, and he's our bass guy. And then we had a second voice in the band for a little bit. Another guy named Cody. He dropped out of the project, and Tom and I had been in music groups back in high school together. I knew Tom could sing, and so I hung out at his house one day, and I was like, "Dude, do you want to be a part of this?" And he's my oldest, closest friend, and it's actually really cool to have him be a part of the band, and to take a role that is more of a supporting role. I'm the lead singer, but we trade off parts on some songs. We go back and forth. We do some dueling vocals on stuff. But what's great about Tom is he's got great musical sense. He's got a good singing voice, and the two of us understand harmony, and so we harmonize really well with each other. And so he brings that skill set in a way that, you think, okay, he's not the lead singer, but if he wasn't there, it wouldn't be anywhere near the quality that it was. And so having him there makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it's a trip, man, because Thomas Prosser, I never knew he was into music at all. I knew him through, the gym. Yeah. You know what I mean? He was a big workout guy, and I see him at the gym all the time. Me and my buddy Mike Shupe knows him a lot more better than I do, but no, that's cool, though, man. And what I noticed, too, is, you guys have a lot of chemistry up there and a lot of presence, man. A lot of bands will just stand up there on stage, and they won't interact with the crowd, and it's you guys were and there was probably only, 50 people or whatever that was out there. I was shocked. I thought that you guys should have had a packed house of hundreds of people with how great your performance was, but it was you guys were out there handing out your stickers, man, just walking around. It was awesome. And you got a big show coming up on June 10th at the Maltese. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and tell all the listeners a little more about that.
Yeah, so that's at the Maltese, June 10th. It's a tribute to Blink-182's Enema of the State album.
Classic
Blink. Not their only great album, but probably their most successful album. And definitely classic, late 90s. So late last year, we did a tribute to Nirvana's Nevermind. That album turned 25 last year in September, and we did a 25th anniversary. Blink-182's Enema of the State turns 18 this year.
Makes me feel so old,
right? Oh man, because that came out when I was in high school, and that's just disappointing. But that album turns 18 this year, and so we're memorializing that one. And we had so much fun with the tribute thing last year, wanted to do it again this year, picked Blink-182, and I think it's actually going to be a thing for us on a year-to-year basis. Once a year, we're going to pick a band to try to do some kind of tribute to.
So a 90-minute show just dedicated to Blink-182 and their stuff?
It's actually going to be closer to a 3-hour show. We've got 2 acts opening up. Taking up the first 2 hours. Great local act called Scarlet Pumps, kind of an alt-rock feel to them. And then Slay It Forward, punk act, they're going to join in. It should be a nice fusion there because they're kind of a pop-punk style that they have. And then, we're going to close out the night playing the whole album.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maltese is a great venue, man, for just entertainment in general. They've been doing a lot over there. I was telling you about comedy stuff that I'm involved with, and they've got just all kinds of stuff going on. So is there a cover, or what's the deal on that? And what time does it start?
9 o'clock, $7 cover. which is pretty standard for the Maltese on the weekends. That's what they like to do. And I got to give a shout out to Cesar Sanchez, who does all the shows and does all of the booking for the Maltese, and is just a great dude to work with and put together. And the Maltese is a great spot. It's got a very welcoming atmosphere. There's nothing in there that suggests that it's a bar for like a certain kind of person. Like it's there for everybody who wants to be a part of it, wants to check it out, wants to come have a good time on the weekend, something like that. It's always a great room with a great vibe. It's a smaller place, smaller stage, but that makes it feel more intimate to me. Right. And I like being able to interact with the audience. That's the fun part of being on stage.
Absolutely, man. That's what it's all about. Because without the audience, man, you ain't got a show. Those guys are they're paying the way. You know what I mean? It's an awesome thing, man. I love entertainment. I really, really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your story, man. And I'd like to get the band, maybe some of the other members on the show as well down the line. So at this time, Matt, like the floor is yours. Social media, Radio Relapse, man. Tell everybody where they can find more out about you guys.
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook. That's probably the easiest place to interact with us. We put all of our shows and things up there. That's facebook.com/Radio Relapse Band. We do have a website that's www.radiorelapseband.com. We're also on Instagram. That's RR Cover Band out there. We have a Twitter, but that is poorly managed at this point, to be frank and honest, so I'm not too worried about that. That's RR Cover Band as well. But yeah, definitely Facebook. We put all our shows on there. We create Facebook events for everything that we're going to do. It's pictures, videos available. We do have a YouTube channel. If you search for Radio Relapse, you'll find our stuff there. But everything is linked from both Facebook and the website. So you'll be able to find anything you wanted to check out from there. And there's definitely some cool stuff. There's like a promo vid. It's got snippets of all of our shows. There's like a 7-minute video of that Nirvana Nevermind tribute show. It's got snippets of almost every song and interviews with audience members, showcasing that experience. And we're hoping for a repeat with a different band and a little bit different feel, but definitely getting back to everything people love from back in the day in terms of music, that 90s music.
Rock on. Yeah. The coach, Matt Sutter, representing Radio Relapse. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, man. This is great.
We got 7 minutes on the clock. I'm here with 2 guests that actually go back to episode 7. I've got Ginger Daniels. I've got Rachel Myles. Welcome to Mitch Please, guys. First ever time doing this Hot Topic segment. And the hot topic is open mics. Comedy open mics. What's your opinion on these open mics? The subject? Everything about them. We're going to talk about it right now. Rachel, what do you think about open mics?
Open mics, they're fucking necessary for comedy. They're where you practice and get better and get, a following, and it's where you can also scout other talent. It's necessary.
Absolutely. What do you think, Ginger?
I think they're great to be humbled. When you do really poorly, they let you know.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Should someone be booked on a comedy show and perform without even ever going to an open mic, Rachel?
I don't think so. I feel like open mics are part of paying your dues. I feel like when it's a privilege to get a gig where people are paying, because when people are paying, they're already invested in laughing. So you're not going to get the experience of actually having to work a room that maybe doesn't want to listen to you. And I feel like, in most things you got to pay your dues, and I feel like open mics are a part of that.
I'm gonna have to agree on that too. I've been doing open mics for a little over 2 years, and it's still a learning curve, and I've only had like a handful of shows.
I'm going to disagree with you guys, because that's what we do here on the Hot Topic. I think that if you have the ability to bring people to an event, to buy a ticket, then you know what? I'll give you a shot. You know what I mean? In my opinion, as a promoter, like because this just happened. This just happened with my last 2 shows. I booked my wrestling trainer, Zach Reeb, who never had an open mic experience, and he brought both times over 10 people to the show, and but to agree with you guys, he didn't do that great of a job. And Ginger was there.
Exactly. And that's what I booked. Against my better judgment, I booked someone for a show because I knew that she could pack an audience, and it was great. And I had also seen video of her performing at another private event, so I knew she was funny, but then she decided to do something completely different that she'd never done before, and it bombed. And because she had no open mic experience and she'd no experience bombing, she didn't know how to like play into that, and you need to know how to lean into that hard part when you start to bomb, and how to like save your set.
This happened to your friend where at?
It was at Duffy's.
At Duffy's recently?
It was the last show that I produced, yeah.
Okay, so we've both done the same thing. We've booked our friends that maybe they brought some people, right, but they didn't do the greatest job. And when I said, and I wanted to get what Ginger's going to have to say, because he was there, I think, for at least one of those performances. And it's not to bury Zach at all, because like I said, he's my wrestling trainer, mentor, one of my best friends in the world. But he did a great job in the sense that he brought people, and he helped make the event profitable. But Ginger, what did you think of the performance, man?
I was pretty disappointed that, you kept giving him the light, and he went over quite a while, but I was right after him, and I definitely wasn't feeling well, so I was okay with him taking his time. But if I was feeling well, I probably would have been upset with him going over, and, I have my specific time that I practice for and try to get down, and not go over too much. Absolutely, it's vital. In wrestling, music, comedy, you can't go over your time. Let's switch up here. Rachel, you're the only one sitting here that's actually been to an open mic outside of Chico. Describe your experience briefly.
Open mics outside of Chico, they're great. It's nice to test your jokes in front of a different audience. Sometimes you get better audiences, sometimes you get worse audiences. There's a lot more men generally. Like here we've got a pretty good concentration of female comedians, as far as like male to female ratio, which is impressive. And I mean, I know we're just supposed to be talking about comedy mics, but I really like doing mixed mics too. When you find a good mixed mic with a good audience, I've done comedy in front of 3 people or no people. I've done comedy in front of packed rooms for open mics where everyone was attentive. I've done comedy in front of a fucking Dick's Burger shop while people were waiting to get in line to get their food.
Nice.
So
Dick's Burger. You said you think more men do open mic comedy than women? Probably more men do comedy in general than women.
Absolutely.
Why is that? Do you think?
Well, it's a male-dominated thing. Like most things in entertainment, I think men, because of our society, men are taught to be more assertive and to put themselves out there, and women who are assertive and loud and make a statement with themselves. Women are taught not to be that way, and so there are less women who are willing to put themselves out there like that.
That's a whole different topic for a whole nother show, men versus women, but I like it though. Ginger, briefly, what do you think, man? Why do more guys do comedy? Let's just say in Chico, because that's what you experienced. What do you think? I just think it's pretty much the same way of what Rachel was saying. I'd like to see more women come out. I sometimes laugh more at their jokes than the men jokes. I haven't really thought about why more men do it. I think it probably is because they're more assertive. I'll briefly say I think women can actually draw more interest at a comedy show than a guy can, just because, hey, especially if she's very attractive or somewhat attractive. It's a woman talking, and we have to listen is what how I feel. But skipping around here, guys, couple minutes left. Do you think open mics should limit what you say. It's an open mic. It's freedom of speech. You're going up there with a microphone. You have nothing else but you and a microphone and people hopefully listening and watching. Rachel, do you think people should be limited of what they talk about?
I think that's a really difficult subject. I don't feel like we should be censoring people as comedians. However, venues at an open mic, if you are offending customers, paying customers, they have a duty to those paying customers, and they can and they have a right to tell you that they don't like what you're saying, or please don't talk about that stuff. And then you have a decision whether you want to fucking say fuck the establishment and talk about it and get kicked off, or comply and keep going, or just not go at all.
I've had people in the crowd trying to censor me with some of the jokes I was telling, and I kept going. I also feel like it could also depend on the situation. I hosted an open mic, and it was right after the primaries, and the venue asked not to do political jokes because they had to kick people out the previous day. So I understood. I didn't like it, but I understood.
I did it anyway. I told political jokes anyway.
I respect it when people tell me not to talk about certain things, just because as a businessman, I'm just like, all right, well, I don't want to piss this place off. Might have a chance to make money with this person down the line. So, guys, we're out of time. Thank you very, very much. We could probably go off for several more minutes on several other topics, and I hope to have you guys back on the show down the line. Go ahead and plug your stuff.
You can just find me on Facebook with Ginger Daniels.
You on Twitter?
I don't really use it.
Okay. Rachel?
You can find me on Facebook, Rachel Myles, and it's Myles with a Y, not an I. Like, oh, Y, Rachel. It isn't a unit of measurement. It's different. You can find me on Twitter at Miss R Myles, same Myles with a Y, or on Instagram, La Gringa Boricua, LAGRINGABORICUA.
This has been Hot Topic. Ginger Daniels, Rachel Myles, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you have it, guys. 2 segments back to back for you. The coach, Matt Sutter from Radio Relapse, and then the first ever Hot Topic segment. Big shout out, Rachel Myles, Ginger Daniels. Pretty jam-packed show once again this week for you guys. And before we get out of here, I wanted to talk about a couple other things that have been happening. WWE. All right? They don't really capture my attention too much anymore, but they definitely have lately, because Samoa Joe main evented a WWE pay-per-view and was victorious, making him the #1 contender for Brock Lesnar's championship. I'm going to tell you guys right now, 15-year-old Mitch, the biggest wrestling fan in the world, would lose his freaking mind about this match right here. And I'm 29 years old now, and I still am pretty darn excited about this. Great balls of fire. Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe. Recently on Raw, you saw Samoa Joe cut that promo, choke out Paul Heyman, and I just want to give big props to WWE for this upcoming angle, match, whatever it turns into. I've been waiting for this for a long time. So, yeah, I'm going to be watching that very closely. And also, Goldust has been just killing it, man. Like, I know he's only done a couple promos, is doing his thing with R-Truth, but Goldust to me is one of the standouts in that company right now, and I hope that he gets that IC belt, if nothing else. Maybe even a heavyweight championship run on SmackDown or something would be cool. Speaking of wrestling, guys, Pro Championship Wrestling coming up this Saturday night, June 10th, 7 p.m. We're starting that bad boy. In fact, I'm starting that bad boy because I am the host. But more importantly than that, we've got a 30-minute time limit PCW Inter-California Championship rematch between the current champion JJ King and Grizzly Cal Jack, the big old monster bear. That's going to be a classic match, guys, this Saturday. Also, Kimmy, right, the pretty little psycho Kimmy's going one-on-one with Brittany Wonder. We've got the semifinals of the Golden State Junior Heavyweight Championship Tournament. Christian Sky, one-on-one with Patrick P. Daddy Abbott. We got Daniel Torch, one-on-one with Aaron Sky. And so much more. I am really, really looking forward to Pro Championship Wrestling Work Farm Wars this Saturday night. Last month, we sold out, and we had to turn people away at the door. So, if you want to come check this show out, it's only $10. Get your tickets now. Message me, message Pro Championship Wrestling. However you got to do it, make sure you reserve your spot because this is going to be a classic event on Saturday night, June 10th. Again, 7 p.m. And also, we have a big after party going on this Saturday at Siva's Pub. All right, and that's also in Oroville. So, I'm promoting I'm aware I'm promoting 3 events on June 10th. You know, we've got Pro Championship Wrestling at 7 p.m. All right, the after party, official PCW after party at Siva's Pub starts at 10 p.m. And as you heard, my guest, Matt Sutter, the coach from Radio Relapse, you know, they're going to be doing an event on June 10th as well in Chico. So, you know, you got lots of options, and really, you could make all 3. With the way everything's lined up and the start times, you could pop over to PCW, check out some wrestling, head over to the after party, just have one drink or so, because you got to drive to Chico and catch those that last little bit of Radio Relapse. However you do it, just support local entertainment. And speaking of bands and speaking of local entertainment, want to give some love here to the House Cats. Again, Robin Valentine and Bill Teague every Wednesday night at the Italian Garden. And big show coming up on June 30th. In fact, we're dropping it here first. Pro Championship Entertainment is on board for the House Cats at El Mendra Winery in Durham, California, June 30th, 6 to 9 p.m. All ages, no cover. Check that out. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to this show. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for inviting your friends. I'm very excited for the future. I'm excited to share stories with you all and get your feedback and just simply make dreams happen. All right? We're going to kick it on over to Radio Relapse live in Chico, California. Take it away. And thank you guys very, very, very much.
Usual. People keep on learning. till we reach that. Till love reach the highest ground. Till love reach the highest ground.
On. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So if you just walked into the park, we are Radio Relapse.
And that was Chase the Ace on bass.
Look at that dude. Chase Fan Club. Chase Fan Club just added one.